we're gonna remove this radiator from our 98 Corolla, and it doesn't leak, but we want to demonstrate. So we started by draining the coolant, which we have a video on. You can click on the link. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do to start. And then after that, we're gonna go down below. We're gonna jack up the car, and down below we need to disconnect the lower radiator hose, and we got 2 transmission cooler lines down there because this is an automatic car. If you have a manual transmission, you won't have those. You won't have to deal with that. But you want to get one pan to drain your coolant into, and another one to just stick those transmission hoses into, or even better yet, if you can clamp off the hoses so they don't leak, that would be best, so you don't lose too much transmission fluid. But either way, you're going to drip a little bit, and so just be ready for that. And then once we do that, well, actually no, first thing you'll see when we go down, we're going to remove a cover, because there's a plastic cover in the way. Forgot to mention that. And then after we do everything below, we're going to come up top, disconnect the fans and the mounts and the upper radiator hose and the tank here, the overflow tank, and then we'll be able to remove our radiator. Alright, I'm removing these 2 plastic covers. There's one on the right, one on the left, and there's several screws and bolts holding them in. Okay, now we can get to, there's one transmission line, then there's, let's see, the lower radiator hose, and then the other transmission line is right here. So we'll need access here, here, and here. And we can disconnect those parts and get our radiator out. Somebody put on some worm clamp way too tight on here, and it looks like it's eating into the hose, and rust is eating into it as well. Oh, there we go. You can tell it's loose now. Fluid's coming out. There we go. Alright, then we gotta do the same with the other side. Oh, but the other side is the original clamp on it. Alright, the original clamp is a little bit nicer. Oh, there we go. Alright, I got the hose clamp plier tool to clamp, to open up this clamp here. There we go. Get that off there. And just move that aside. Gonna get this thing loose. There we go. That wasn't too difficult. Oh, a little bit. Alright, so now we're disconnected at the bottom, so we gotta go back up top and do the rest. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the lower radiator hose. Just use my hose clamp pliers to open it up and get it out of the way. And carefully, just using channel locks to loosen it. So then we can push that out of the way. Then we also need to disconnect the fan plugs. You squeeze the tab, which is actually broken, and the other side you do the same. Squeeze the tab and pull that off. Now our fans are disconnected. And then also there's the coolant overflow tank, which needs to get disconnected. Or actually, you know, it's a real easy way. Skip messing around with this. I'll just leave that there. You can just unplug it and just take it off and disconnect it later. And then we need to take out our 12mm head bolts here that hold the radiator mounts in. Set those aside. Pull the mount off. There we go. I think our radiator's free. And should be able to lift it up. Alright. Ooh. A nice nest down there. Alright, now we got it out. And then the next part will be to remove the fans, transfer them over to the new radiator, and put it all back together. When you get your new radiator, you gotta transfer some old parts. The fan assembly here is held in by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. And then don't forget the rubber grommets. There's 2 at the bottom where it mounts into the frame. And then don't forget your overflow hose. And that's about, oh, and then check your lines for your transmission cooler to make sure that they're tight and in the right position. And that's about it. Alright, now we're gonna take the whole assembly and lower it back into place. There we go. You'll know it's in place when those grommets drop in. We're gonna put our bolts in up top to secure it. Be careful, the mounts will want to twist a little bit apparently. There we go. And let's see. So I'm going to start reconnecting everything. Our upper hose. And connectors. Put the overflow back in. Alright, then the rest we gotta do on the bottom. Alright, so everything just gotta slide back together. Get that lower radiator hose on. And these hose clamp pliers are good because they'll help from damaging the clamp. Just using regular pliers, sometimes they bend the clamp. And let's see, there we go. And then get that cooler line on. Alright, get that right in place. We gotta do the other side. Okay, so at this point we'll just put the covers back in on both sides and fill up our coolant, bleed the system, and we'll be done replacing the radiator.